My dream home, built with my own hard-earned money. Building my dream home with my own money was the greatest achievement of my life. It was the result of years of relentless hard work, filled with sacrifices and determination. Never did I imagine that my in-laws would try to take it away from me, but I refuse to let that happen. No matter what it takes, I will fight for what is mine, even if it costs me everything. My name is Juniper, and I got married at 33. Marriage was never something I thought much about, but as I watched people around me settle down, I decided to give it a try. I started dating someone, thinking life might be easier with a partner. In hindsight, that wasn't the best reason to get married. My husband's name is Ambrose. We met during a group date when I was 30. At the time, I worked for a foreign company, earning a stable income while Ambrose was employed at a supermarket. The difference in our salaries was significant, and his job was demanding, but since we had no children and I made enough to support us, we never struggled financially. We respected each other's work and lived a peaceful life, except for one major issue. The biggest strain in my marriage came from the mistreatment I faced from my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Since we lived close to them, they frequently invited me over, especially on my days off. As a newlywed, I found it hard to refuse. Whenever we visited, my mother-in-law would immediately start giving me tasks. "Oh, you're finally here. Make some tea for us. And once you're done, clean the second floor." Before I could even finish brewing the tea, my sister-in-law would chime in. "I'd like black tea, and while you're at it, could you grab some sweets from the store?" I couldn't help but wonder, why was I the one running errands for them? Couldn't they at least agree on the same drink? I wanted to refuse, but in the end, I complied. They were my husband's family, and I didn't want to cause trouble. Besides, it was only once or twice a month. As long as I went along with their requests, I thought I could keep the peace. But over time, their demands became unbearable. One day, my mother-in-law called me over with a serious expression. A warning bell rang in my head. I knew this wouldn't be good news. "Juniper, can we talk?" she asked. I responded politely, "Of course, what's the matter?" And just as I suspected, she got straight to the point. "We're struggling financially this month. Can you lend us $1,000? She asked, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I was taken aback. "I'm sorry, but I can't lend you that much. I already gave you $500 last month, remember?" I had given her money once before, supposedly for my father-in-law's hospital expenses, but I never received any proof of his illness, and I had a strong feeling the money had gone elsewhere. But that was for hospital bills. This time it's for our household expenses. "We're really struggling, please help us," she pleaded, her tone sweet but insistent. I stood my ground. "I'm sorry, but I can't afford to give you any more money." My husband, instead of backing me up, chimed in, "Come on, Juniper. You make more than me, don't you? And you just got a summer bonus. What's the harm in helping out?" The moment he mentioned my bonus, my mother-in-law's eyes lit up. "You got a bonus? And yet you won't even help your family," she accused. I refused to be guilt-tripped. "Yes, I got a bonus. And I saved it for something important, our future home," I stated firmly. Ever since childhood, I had dreamed of owning my own house, a space tailored to my tastes and comfort. That dream was what motivated me to save, avoiding unnecessary luxuries. Just because I had extra income didn't mean I owed it to them. Despite their complaints, I refused to give in. My mother-in-law continued trying to pressure me, but I stood firm, and eventually we left their house. On the drive home, I couldn't contain my frustration. "Why am I the one taking all the blame? If your mom needs money, why doesn't she ask you?" I asked my husband. He sighed, clearly annoyed. "You earn more than me. It makes sense for you to help out. But she thinks you're the one making more money, not me. Isn't it strange for her to ask me instead of you?" I argued. "Just stop complaining and do it," he snapped. His indifference infuriated me. But I didn't yell, I simply made up my mind. From now on, I'm not helping anymore. "Last month she lied to me about your dad's medical expenses. If she needs money, you deal with it." My husband clicked his tongue and fell silent. I knew why. He had no backbone when it came to money matters. This wasn't the first time my mother-in-law had asked for financial help under false pretenses. "This month is tight, can you send $500? Your father might need hospitalization. Please send $1,000. Each time I refused, and each time my husband called me selfish, but I ignored him. I wasn't about to let my hard-earned savings be drained by their never-ending requests. After years of careful planning, I finally saved enough for a down payment on my dream house. Since it was my decision, I took full financial responsibility for it. I had struggled early in my career, but my perseverance had paid off. The sense of fulfillment was indescribable. Before construction began, my husband made his stance clear. "I hope you know I'm not contributing a single cent," he told me. "That's fine, Ambrose," I replied calmly. "This is my dream, and I've saved for it. You don't have to worry about the expenses." His financial situation had worsened. The supermarket he worked at was struggling, and his paycheck had been cut. He even stopped contributing to our household expenses altogether. Meanwhile, my dream home was finally becoming a reality. As the finishing touches were added, I couldn't contain my excitement. I envisioned the furniture, the layout, and the warmth of a space that was truly mine. But I had no idea that my greatest battle was yet to come. Surprisingly, I found myself enjoying the process of building my home, even though it was usually a source of stress. To avoid my in-laws' frequent invitations, I started using my meetings with the construction company as an excuse. Eventually, my husband began visiting them alone more often, and I felt relieved. Finally, the moment I had worked so hard for arrived. My dream home was complete. It was everything I had ever wanted, a reflection of my hard work and perseverance. We were set to move in over the weekend when my husband suddenly suggested, "Why don't we order some fancy sushi to celebrate this weekend?" I raised an eyebrow. "Expensive sushi? But we're moving this weekend." He chuckled. "Well, my mother is coming to our new place. We can't just ignore her, can we?" His words caught me off guard. "Your mother? What do you mean?" I wasn't told anything about her visiting, and this weekend is already packed with moving tasks. With a casual shrug, he responded, "It's not just about us. Consider it a housewarming gift for my mom. Since we're all going to be living together, we should start off on the right foot, don't you think?" My heart dropped. "What are you saying?" He smiled as if it was the most natural thing in the world. "The new house is for us, and my mom. She'll be living with us." I felt my temper flare. "Is this guy serious? You expect me to live with your mother in the house I paid for?" I asked, my voice rising. Something inside me snapped, and I shot back, "Don't be ridiculous. Who gave you the right to decide that? This is our home. No, my home. I built it with my money, and I won't allow anyone to move in without my consent." But instead of understanding, my husband simply scoffed. "Huh? I'm the eldest son. It's only natural for family to live together." That was the final straw. "You didn't contribute a single penny to this house, yet you think you have a say just because you're the man of the house? Absolutely not." He straightened his posture, trying to assert authority. "Enough. Calm down. You're the one who married into this family, so think carefully before you speak," he said before storming out. "Calm down, that's my line," I yelled after him. At that point, I didn't care that we had argued. I was simply determined not to let his family take over my home. The next day, he returned with an air of smugness. "So, have you thought things through?" I crossed my arms. "Thought about what, exactly?" He sneered. "If you refuse to live with my family, then I'll divorce you." I nearly laughed. Does he think he's trapping me? He looked at me with confidence, as if he expected me to beg him to reconsider. "Think carefully about your position," he added before walking out again. But to me, this wasn't a loss. It was an opportunity. When moving day arrived, I spent the entire day settling into my beautiful new home. Just as I was unpacking, the doorbell rang. I checked the intercom and saw my husband standing outside, with his entire family. His mother, sister, and even his father were all behind him. "Open up already," he demanded. Keeping my voice calm, I asked, "May I ask who's there?" His face twisted in anger. "What are you talking about? It's me." "Hurry up and open the door. The moving truck will be here soon." I frowned. "Moving truck? We've already finished moving everything in. Are you sure you have the right address?" He slammed his fist against the door. "Stop messing around. Open up, or I'll break this window." Realizing he wouldn't back down, I calmly picked up my phone and dialed the police. "Hello, my ex-husband and his family are causing a disturbance outside my home. Please send help." Within minutes, a patrol car arrived. Just as my husband and his family started causing real damage, the officers stepped in and arrested them on the spot. As they were being taken away, my husband protested, "I'm the owner of this house. This is just a small argument with my wife." I crossed my arms and smirked. "Correction, the house is in my name. And as of now, you're my ex-husband." He blinked, confused. "What? We're not divorced." I raised an eyebrow. "Didn't you demand a divorce?" "Well, I accept." He looked completely shaken, as if he never expected me to take him seriously. In the end, my ex-husband and his family were charged with property damage and disturbing the peace. I made sure they covered the cost of the broken window. The most ironic part, they had already terminated the lease on their apartment, assuming they would move in with me. Now, with nowhere to go, they were stranded with their luggage. Desperate, my ex-husband begged, "Please, we have nowhere to stay. Just for now, let us in." I smiled politely. "But we're strangers now. Why would I let strangers into my home?" His mother and sister started cursing me. "How heartless can you be? What kind of person abandons family in their time of need?" I looked at them with indifference. "Family. I don't recall being part of yours anymore." With that, I cut off all ties with them for good. As for them, they now live in a cramped apartment, barely scraping by on my ex-father-in-law's small pension and my ex-sister-in-law's part-time job. Without my financial support, they struggle to make ends meet. Karma is sweet. Meanwhile, I invited my parents to live with me in my spacious new home. One day, a friend asked, "Wow, are you really living with your parents now?" I smiled. "Of course. The house is too big for just me. Besides, this is my way of repaying them for supporting me through everything." Some people thought it was a shame that I got divorced right after building my dream home, but to me, there was no greater happiness than having my parents by my side. If I had stayed married, I would have been trapped in a miserable life, treated like a servant in my own home. Compared to that, divorce was nothing. I have no regrets. From now on, I'll cherish every moment, for myself and for my parents. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.